Hey, it's Coach Anderson for Mississippi Public Broadcasting Online. When we're here to talk to you a little bit more about ACT reading, and one of the things that we try to make sure that we put out there to you is that ACT reading is very important when it comes to the ACT test. It affords you the opportunity, of course, to increase your overall composite score by getting a great grade when, of course, when it comes to ACT reading, and that is something that is very achievable, provided that you pay attention, to, of course, to the tips, of course, and the strategies, of course, that we introduce. And today what we're going to do is talk about active reading a little bit. And I'm sure if your English 2 teachers and English 1 teachers and English 3 and English 4 teachers have told you or introduced you, of course, to the idea of active reading and annotations and things like that. But what we're going to do is try to offer you what we can to kind of enhance some of the things, of course, that they have already told you. And what we're going to do, of course, is look at some strategies that might be used, of course, to keep you engaged when it comes to reading these passages, because some of them can be kind of difficult to kind of get through. And if you passively going through them, you may find it more difficult to to understand or comprehend what the author, of course, is trying to convey to you. Today, what we're going to do, of course, is look at active reading in terms of what is active reading, and try to give you some tips and some strategies that you can use to incorporate into your game plan. When we said about creating a game plan, you're going to need a game plan, of course, to attack this particular test, and skimming is one part of it. A second part of it that we're going to have introduce you today, of course, is active reading. So what is active reading? Active reading means engaging with the text through thoughtful interaction to improve understanding and retention of information. Students should focus on analyzing and questioning the material and move beyond passive reading to active engagement by underlining key points, annotating, highlighting, and creating graphics. Now keep in mind, some of these things you can't do, of course. What you can do, of course, is depending on the type of test that you have. If you have an online test, of course, the highlighting tool, of course, may be something that is available to you. But when it comes to the written test, it may not, of course, it won't be. So then, of course, maybe underlining, maybe starring things, writing some things in the margin or bulleting some things. Those are the types of things that we're going to need you to do when we're talking about active reading when it comes to the different types of tests, of course, you have. One of the things that I like, of course, is on the online test, you can use different colors to highlight or annotate different things. So that, and once again, it goes back to creating a game plan. And when you create that game plan, you should use it, of course, for each individual passage, of course, that you are addressing. The benefits of active reading, what are they? Some of the benefits include improved reading comprehension of main ideas and details, enhanced recall of relevant ideas and facts, increases the ability to make inferences, and it reduces time spent on rereading passages. So one of the things that active reading does, you can always refer back to the notes that you've taken rather than going back and trying to find different things in the passage or rereading the passage, thereby cutting down on the amount of time that you're spending, of course, in each individual passage, because that is the enemy here. You have 35 questions, you have 35 questions, 40 questions in 35 minutes. So that's where you want to make sure that you are careful. Tips for successful active reading. You should stay focused. You should develop a routine, as we talked about earlier. Review annotations before answering your questions. Use active reading strategies on practice passages. And on the live test items, be consistent in your approach. Last thing, in terms of looking at practice active reading. Active reading is like any other skill, just so we said about, of course, skimming. It takes practice, so utilize free ACT reading passages and go to town. The more you use it, the better you get at doing it. Practice makes perfect, but perfect practice is what we're striving for. This is Coach Anderson from Mississippi Public Broadcasting Online. What we've done, of course, is we try to introduce you to ACT reading so far in the lessons that we've given you. We told you about some of the student supports. We told you about some of the strategies. And we also, or general tips and strategies, and we also have introduced you, of course, to 2 of the main components of anyone's game plan, of course, when it comes to ACT reading. The importance of skimming and the importance of active reading. What we're going to do the next time that we see you, we're going to talk about those 4 different types of passages and the 5 questions that may be asked from those particular passages. This is Coach Anderson from Mississippi Public Broadcasting Online, and we'll see you next time where we'll start to dive in to those 4 different types of passages and the questions that relate to them. We'll see you next time.